And good evening, I'm Adam Longo. A Republican running for Fairfax County School Board is accused of chatting with neo-Nazis on Twitter. In just a moment, he'll share his side of the story. The news at 7 starts right now. Tonight at 7, Fairfax County School Board candidate Harry Jackson under fire for holding a 3-hour public conversation with a white supremacist group. We have audio from the Twitter space he engaged with. And the leader of the D.C. Guardian Angels is joining us in studio to talk about the group's efforts to provide a safety presence for Metro riders. It's the first day of Women's History Month, and we're celebrating the occasion with a trivia game. Tonight's question has to do with a presidential run.
New tonight, more model data on this Friday storm. We'll let you know which model says rain and which model still says we could see some sleet or snow.
We're packing today's top local news stories and DC's most accurate forecast. Deeper context on the big stories and the good news happening in the DMV. Follow us right here. This is the 7 o'clock news on WUSA9. First up tonight, this is Harry Jackson. He is running for Fairfax County School Board, and he was caught talking about trans rights and critical race theory with a notorious white supremacist group. Bruce LeShan spoke to Jackson to get his side of the story, and it's a story you'll see only tonight on WUSA9.
Harry Jackson dropped out of the Fairfax County School Board race last summer after he was caught on tape laughing at an autistic child performing the national anthem at a board meeting.
That just happened. I have.
But now he is back in the election and facing serious questions about his nearly 3-hour conversation on Twitter with the white supremacist Groypers.
You don't give them hormone treatment. You certainly don't take out the saw and cut it off.
Jackson railed about Fairfax County schools, trans rights, and critical race theory with the neo-Nazi Groypers, who are followers of extremist activist Nick Fuentes, who had dinner last year at Mar-a-Lago with Kanye West and former President Trump.
In Fairfax, Virginia, it's a woke hellhole, and I fight against, for the most part, CRT.
The Nazis also sought to indoctrinate children.
Jackson, the co-founder of the Coalition for TJ, was complaining at the school board last week about child indoctrination.
Back then, it was to instill in children a German national identity and loyalty to Nazism. Today, it is designed to build social justice warriors.
All the work I do is to protect my children.
Activist Jennifer Litton-Todd, who says she's the mother of an autistic child and a genderqueer child, sent us the link to Jackson's Groypers alt-right conversation.
The homophobia, the racial comments, the sitting there for 3 hours entertaining people who are talking about the Jewish problem and the Jewish power.
Jackson backed out of a Zoom interview with us, but sent us a statement saying this is a, quote, political spin story. He says he got a surprise invitation to the group and was just listening. He says he does not agree with their views and has not talked to them since. Bruce LeShan, WUSA9. All
right, we've got an update to a disturbing story for you now in Fairfax County. Fairfax County Police just releasing the names of the victims of a murder-suicide. Police believe 86-year-old Janos John Gettler shot and killed his wife. Happened just after 10 o'clock last night, and that happened before he took his own life, allegedly. We're told officers found Gettler and his wife, 73-year-old Eva Anna Voss, dead inside of a home on Walker Road. Tonight, police are still working to find a motive. New information now on 3 other top stories we're following for you tonight. A judge has sentenced a man for the murder of a 15-year-old boy. Malik Holston has been sentenced to 40 years in prison for the 2018 murder of Gerald Watson. A judge called Holston a, quote, cold-blooded assassin. Watson was just 15 when prosecutors say Holston chased him down and shot him 16 times. Holston himself was only 16 years old at the time. Police arrested him a short time later. He's been in a juvenile detention center ever since. Holston wasn't convicted until last November. Police investigating after officers forced to give Narcan to 2 teenagers in Arlington. This happened before 1:30 this afternoon inside of a parking garage at Ballston Quarter Shopping Mall on Wilson Boulevard. When officers arrived there, they found 3 teenagers in the area. All 3 were taken to the hospital. The ages of those victims are unknown. And if you're using the Dulles Toll Road, a quick reminder, it's fully cashless now. That means you need to use EasyPass or one of 4 approved mobile apps to pay the toll. Otherwise, your license plate will be scanned and you'll get a bill for the toll plus a service fee of $1.60. The Metropolitan Washington Airports Authority says the all-electric system will help speed up traffic along the toll road. You can get updates on these and all of our top stories anytime on our website, WUSA9.com. Out here on the WUSA9 Weather Terrace now with Chief Meteorologist Topper Shutt, and this is the day that so many people have circled on their calendar because it is the big reveal as to when we will see peak bloom. We're in stage 2 right now for the cherry blossoms.
Yeah, stage 2 hit about 3-4 hours ago, about 3:30. So we sent Caitlin McGrath out on the in the tidal basin, and National Park Service, well, they came out with their prediction of peak bloom.
The day so many folks have been waiting for. We officially got word from the National Park Service on when that peak bloom date is expected, or peak bloom range, I should say. And just before noon today, the National Park Service declared March 22nd through the 25th for peak bloom here at the tidal basin. And keep in mind, peak bloom is when 70% of the trees are in bloom. And that does align with the Cherry Blossom Festival, which kicks off March 20th and goes until April 14th. But of course, this mild winter weather has led to an earlier than normal expected peak. Average peak date is April 4th. And of course, forecasting ahead of that this year with a range of the 22nd through the 25th. But we say it all the time that it really depends on the weather directly leading up to the peak bloom date to see when we could see that peak bloom occur. And as we head through the next several weeks, temperatures actually trending a little below average. We've been above average through so much of this winter, but over the next several weeks, we should see temperatures stay generally in the upper 40s and low 50s, which is still mild and should still bring us to an early peak bloom date.
Now, if you're going out tonight, it is still fairly mild. High temperature 57 at the National today and 61 at Dulles. So if you are going to go outside, it's our live Earth Cam. It's just a spectacular shot at night. So low 50s through 9, 10 o'clock, and then some clouds come back in. And then overnight and into the early morning hours, some showers are possible. 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, but they're out of here by about 7:30. And temperatures kind of go up. Look at that, mid-50s by 9 o'clock. Headed for a pretty warm day tomorrow. But look what's lurking. This is Friday morning at 9 o'clock. This is a little bit of snow and blue on the Blue Ridge, and this is also in the magenta here. That's a mixture, and we have a cold rain in the metro. We're going to come back. We're going to take you through Friday morning. New data coming in right now. We'll let you know if anybody's really going to see any sleet or snow on Friday, and of course, let you know if that moves out in time for the weekend.
Always something lurking on the horizon, isn't there? All right, Topper, thank you. So this month, we are honoring women for their contributions to history and society. Women do it all, whether it's taking care of their family, excelling in their careers, or volunteering in their community. Women get the job done. This month, we're going to play Women's Month Trivia. All right, so we're going to start with this. Who was the first woman to run for president? Was it Sonia Johnson? Was it Victoria Woodhull? Was it Linda Jennings? Or was it Belva Ann Lockwood? Grab your phones, tweet us your answer, use the hashtag #PhenomenalWomen, and mention me on Twitter at AdamLongoTV. We'll reveal the answer for you at the end of the show. Also tonight, we are diving into crime on Metro. One group taking an active role in trying to reverse the trend. The leader of DC's Guardian Angels will join us here in just a few minutes. We'll talk with him live to highlight the work that the group is doing. Have something revealing to share with you. Today is my favorite day of the year. It is the first day of meteorological spring. I mean, it's been spring since January, let's face it.
It has,
I know you haven't been a big fan.
I've not been a big fan. And by the way, meteorological spring is March, April, and May.
Okay.
It's a full month, okay?
And remind me again when spring actually begins.
Not until later this month.
Gotcha.
Much later this month.
Yeah.
That's astronomical spring. Okay, so meteorologist Caitlin McGrath looks back at some of our wild winters and what the future may look like.
It's undeniable. Between climate change and urbanization, our winters are getting warmer. Over the past 5 decades, our region has seen winter average temperatures increase between 3 and 5 degrees. And the University of Maryland Center for Environmental Science is projecting that winter months could warm an additional 4 to 10 degrees by 2080 if we can't curb greenhouse gas emissions. Just think back to how warm this past winter was. It was 7.7 degrees warmer than average, and for most of the month, we all swapped our heavy winter layers for some lighter attire. The top 7 of the 10 warmest winters since 1941 have all been in the past 20 years. Now, of course, there can still be cold winters in our changing climate. We still normally have a few stretches of extreme cold during the winter months when polar air sinks south. The likelihood of extreme cold conditions in a warming world is just decreasing. But rest assured, we will still have days with record cold temperatures. Data just shows it won't be as cold for as long in the past. And don't worry, snow lovers, we will still have storms like this. Back in January 2016, between the 22nd and 23rd, DC picked up nearly 18 inches of snow. But get this, that same winter we had that epic 2-day snow ended up being our 3rd warmest winter on record. Now, let's turn back the clock to the winter of 2009 and 2010. If you were around, you might remember it for being a blockbuster winter with over 56 inches of snow and below average temperatures. While there was no shortage of winter wonderland scenes like this, the season came to an abrupt and early halt with the final freeze on February 27th, the earliest final freeze on record. If you're not a fan of the cold, warming winters might sound like a good thing, but it can have serious negative impacts on our health and regional economies. Disease-carrying insects like mosquitoes and ticks can spread into regions that were previously too cold to survive in. Years with less snow have already been crushing for the multi-billion-dollar winter recreation industry. Think skiing, ice fishing, and snowmobiling. Agriculture is also at risk. Fruit trees like cherry, apple, and peach trees require a minimum number of winter chill hours before they can grow fruit in the spring and summer months. With warmer winter temperatures, this cool period is decreasing and could eventually hinder fruit development. And winter temperatures are critical when it comes to the blooming of our cherry blossoms. Last year in 2022, we hit peak bloom on March 21st, 14 days before the average peak bloom of April 4th. And while there certainly have been years with peak bloom after the average date, the trend has undeniably been earlier than normal, and it's linked to rising temperatures.
So remember, the peak bloom forecast is 22 to 25, and it's not uncommon for the National Park Service to adjust that, so stay tuned. Okay, look what's to our west. Look at all this warm air. So Oakland and Pittsburgh over 20 degrees warmer today than they were yesterday. Boom, that's sliding our way for tomorrow. So Thursday is going to be a pretty warm day. Some areas could hit 70 tomorrow. Now, we have to deal with a few morning showers. They should be out of here by 7 or 8 o'clock. And then a very nice day, some peaks of the sun and in the 60s and maybe near 70 south and west. And then boom, rain and showers and just chilly and miserable on Friday. Possible weather watch alert. Yes, there could be a little bit of sleet mixed in north and west of town, but surface temps well above freezing. And I'm not even so sure we're going to see cold enough air aloft to produce sleet north and west of town on Friday. 10 o'clock tonight, we're in the 40s. We are fairly mild and a pretty nice night for a walk after dinner. Notice the arrows, so that's a south wind. That's a pretty warm wind. And we get in the morning hours. We have showers pretty much across the board at 6 o'clock in the morning. Temps, not bad, around 50. So kind of mild at the bus stop, but chilly, a bit wet if you're there early enough. And then by 9 o'clock, it's gone. Temps back in the mid-50s already. And then by afternoon, now notice the winds out of the northwest. The cold front goes through. Even so, temps are still going to make it well into the 60s, 66 by lunchtime, and even by, say, 10 o'clock tomorrow night. Winds are now out of the north, and temperatures starting to drop a little bit, upper 40s to around 50. If you were with us last week, at one point, some of the models had this as a full snow for us on Friday. Now, mainly rain. I still don't think it's going to be that cold for snow west of Leesburg on Friday morning at 7 o'clock. Focused on the temps, 41 downtown, 37 in Gaithersburg. Just a cold, miserable, it'll feel like March. It'll feel like the month we're actually in. How about that? That has not happened much. By the time at 10:30 in the morning, heavier rain along I-81, Winchester up to Hagerstown. And then by, say, lunchtime, miserable, still some rain. Maybe a little bit of a mix along the border, Maryland-PA border. Mainly it's going to be north of that, I think. And then by the time we get to, say, 6 p.m., we kind of have a break. Notice the winds are shifting a little bit. And look down to the south and west. See the little fleck of red there around Culpeper? We could see heavy downpours, maybe even a thunderstorm south of town as we get into early Friday night. I mean, see the red here and the red down into southern Maryland. So our high temperature on Friday may be 50. But it may not occur, or it won't occur, until 9 or 10 o'clock at night. So dress for the 30s and low 40s on Friday. Tomorrow, just dress for 69, early morning showers. There's our weather watch alert. And then breezy and cool on Saturday. Temperatures only in the mid-50s, but not a bad day. You can make some plans. And then we get into, say, on Sunday, we're in the mid-50s as well. Near 60 on Monday, low 60s Tuesday. Morning showers, not a bad day. Back to the mid-50s with sunshine next Wednesday.
Wet dog paws in the morning. All right,
Yes,
Topper,
indeed.
thank you. So we're constantly sharing news with you about crime on Metro. Tonight, we're digging into the numbers, and we're talking to the head of a group who's working to reverse the trend. Stick around. We're back in just 2 minutes. All right, new tonight at 7, but not new to residents of the district. We're diving into the topic of crime on Metro trains and at Metro stations. It was 1 month ago today that a Metro worker was shot and killed at the Potomac Avenue Metro station. His name was Robert Cunningham. He died attempting to disarm a gunman. 2 other people were injured. Well, tonight, a local volunteer group says they are focusing their safety efforts on the transit system after a series of deadly shootings. This is the D.C. Guardian Angels I'm talking about. This group has patrolled Metro on and off since arriving in the district in 1989. And tonight we have John Ayala joining us. He's the leader of the D.C. Guardian Angels. Appreciate you joining us tonight. But before we dive into the topic and in our back and forth Q&A, I want to share some numbers with our audience from Metro Transit Police. I want to share some data here from 2020 to 2022 focused on aggravated assault and robbery. So in 2020, 123 assault cases. 2021, 181. Last year, 195. Robbery cases in 2020, 165, 199 in 2021, 227 in 2022. All right, so look, there it is. There's the facts. It's clear. Crime is going up.
It's climbing.
What are you in position to do about it?
Okay, so like you saw, it's climbing. And it reminds me of when we started the Guardian Angels on a New York City subway station in 1979. The crime was going up. Wasn't enough transit police officers, so we decided, a bunch of young people, 13 of us, we had to make a difference. So now we're in D.C., same thing. The crime is going up, and most people, what they do is complain. What is the police doing? What is the mayor doing? What is the council people doing?
But they're not taking action.
But they're not taking action. You have to dry off your shoes, put them on, and go out there and say, you know what? I'm going to make a difference. So that's what we do. We going out there and we're being that extra eyes and ears for the police and letting people know we're going to report you, and if it comes down to it, we may even detain you for the police.
Let's get into it. How many of you are there, and how do you target when you go out and where you go out?
Okay, so right now we're at about 30 members. We're doing heavy recruiting, hoping to have 100 by the end of spring if it works out right. Right now we're targeting the Green Line, and we're covering Anacostia, well, from Gallery Place to Congress Heights. Sometimes we go a little further, but that Green Line is what we're focused on, because there's a lot of problems on that Green Line.
And what are you prepared to do? How far do you and your members go? What are your marching orders as far as getting involved if you see a situation unfolding?
Okay, so remember, we're unarmed. When we go out, in fact, we search each other, make sure nobody's carrying any weapons whatsoever. When we're on the train, we're just being our eyes and ears. But if we see a fight break out, which has been happening where the young kids, they beat up people and they're filming. You know, they want to put it on all these video stuff, you know, media. So we'll go in, break them up, send them on their way before they start pulling out the knives and the guns.
So you'll get physically involved?
Oh, yeah. We're going to physically get involved so we can send them on their way. Because if we don't, we may wind up seeing on the news later on that night that someone got stabbed or maybe even pushed in front of a train.
Of course, you're hopeful that it never has to get to that point. You're hoping just your sheer presence there would dissuade somebody from doing anything out of line.
That's right. I mean, just like a security guard, our job is to be a deterrent, observe, and report to the police what's going on. We know we see something, hit them call boxes that are on the platform or in the train and let them know we need assistance immediately.
Right. John Ayala, the founder of the D.C. Guardian Angels Chapel. Appreciate you coming in to talk to us.
Thank you.
All right, and we'll be right back. All right, so we're highlighting women who make great contributions to society and American history. Tonight I asked, who was the first woman to run for president? I know that you've all been waiting on the answer. Shout out to Serena Augusto Cox, who tweeted me with the correct answer. Victoria Woodhull was the first woman to run for president. She was also a major leader of the women's suffrage movement. Now more than 103 years old?
Something like that.
Back to 1919, that's right.
Wow.
All right, so what have you got for us to play us out here?
A nice day tomorrow. Some showers in the morning, but they're early, and then boom, it's near 70. Rain, cold rain on Friday. The weekend looks okay. You can make plans, but it will be a little chilly.
All right, I'll be ready to wipe off the dog's paws in the morning.
Oh, yeah, get the dog towels out.
Oh, yeah, he loves getting wet and muddy. Thanks for joining us for the news at 7. For Top or Shut, I'm Adam Longo. We'll both see you back here tonight at 11.